Hi, welcome to Rocky Mountain Views. I'm your host, Martha Thompson, and today we have Noni Rispin with us. She's the Executive Director of Designated Drivers of Colorado Springs. Noni, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Martha.
Let's start out with talking about what is Designated Drivers of Colorado Springs.
Okay. Designated Driver of Colorado Springs offers free rides to impaired drivers. Not only do we get them home safely, but we drive them home safely in their own vehicles. What we're trying to do is eliminate the reasons that people will use to justify drinking and driving. And one of the things I hear way too frequently is, I'm a good drunk driver, I need to have my car in the morning. So by driving folks home safely in their own vehicles, we feel like we've eliminated the main reason that people will use to justify drinking and driving.
Okay. And you've been around for how long?
We gave our first ride on New Year's morning of 2009. So we've provided over 15,000 safe rides home since that time.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're a nonprofit too. So you have a lot of volunteers that are out doing this for you, yes?
Absolutely. We've had over 850 volunteers come through this program since January of 2009.
It's incredible.
They're amazing people. They truly are.
They'd have to be. And I think that, when you talk about, who... First I want to hear from you. Who are the people that call you?
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, excuse me. Sorry. The people who call us, well, let me explain here. We're out 3 nights a week.
Okay.
From 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
Okay.
Now, civilians need to be at a sponsoring location. These are places that pay us each month to have our drivers available for their patrons. And for our military friends, we pick them up anywhere. We kind of feel like they're out protecting our way of life, all the
Yes,
things
they
that
are.
we care about and the people that we love. We kind of feel like it's our job to protect them no matter where they are. So civilians need to be at sponsoring locations. Military folks can be anywhere in our service area, which going south is Widefield Security Fountain, going north is
Okay.
Glen Eagle, going west is Manitou Springs, and going east is about Mark Shefflin Highway 24. We don't go out to Black Forest or Peyton, but that general area out there. So as long as our military friends are anywhere within that service area, they can be at a sponsoring location, a non-sponsoring location, a house party, a parking lot. They can be sitting on the side of the road.
They're good to go.
They're good to go.
But for the general public, they need to be at one of your locations, your sponsored locations.
They do need to be at a sponsoring location.
Okay.
We also have a voucher system available. Vouchers for purchase that if folks have got those, they can call from anywhere in our service area as well.
All right. And how do they get those vouchers?
All they need to do is call me during the day.
Okay.
The vouchers come in books of 10. They're $100 a book, so $10 a voucher. And they can call me anytime during regular business hours. And I try to make it real easy. A lot of times I'll meet folks at a place that's convenient for them, so I can drop them off.
That's terrific.
We try to do everything we can to keep things simple and make it easy for folks,
And dignified.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what my experience has been with a lot of people who have received a DUI or a DWAI.
Mm-hmm.
They are not people who have a problem with alcohol. They're good people. They're caring people.
Mm-hmm.
It was never their intention to be driving under the influence, and they didn't realize that they'd even had that much to drink. They felt maybe a little fuzzy, but they felt okay. They thought they were all right. And the very thought of having to go through the humiliation and the cost of a DUI is one thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But worse yet is, what if I'd hurt somebody? That's the kind of thing that would devastate the people that I know and care about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they'd be able to live with that. So, you know, to spend $100 to have a set of vouchers where you know that, you know what, I might have a little bit more fun tonight than I planned on, but I'm okay, and I'm not going to hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful service that you provide. Now, there are some people that did not get the message in time, and we're looking at a picture here. Can you tell me about these folks? I know this is hard to talk about.
You know, it's my job to talk about it, though.
Okay.
And it is difficult. But I talk about the people in this picture because of a promise I've made to a little girl and her grandmother. This is Lily and Dyra Duncan. Lily Duncan was killed by a drunk driver on May 14th of 2011. She had just left her mother's birthday party and was headed home. The fact that Dyra wasn't with her is nothing short of a miracle. At the last minute, Dyra asked if she could spend the night with Grandma.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, the answer was yes. Lily was headed home, hit head-on by a drunk driver just this side of Denver. You know, Dyra has lost both parents in 2 separate alcohol-related incidents. She's 14 years old. She's lost both parents. And, you know, I was in Denver when they brought the verdict in for the young lady who hit and killed Lily that night.
Yes.
She was 26 years old, had a great job, just bought a home, was about to get married. She was just recently sentenced to 10 years for vehicular homicide. This family has been changed forever. Dyra's being raised by her grandmother now and her grandfather. And they're awesome people, but they're not mom, they're not dad.
Right.
This is a 14-year-old little girl who isn't going to have either one of her parents there when she graduates from high school, when she gets married, when she has children of her own. She is one amazing kid. In fact, she came out last night to tell all of my drivers thank you for what they do. She's just an amazing child. But Dyra and Lily, she is, you know, she's an amazing kid. She loves to dance and sing. And she's full of energy. But she came out last night to say thank you to everybody for what they do. Thank you for preventing what happened to her family from happening to other people. So I take this picture with me everywhere I go, because these are the faces of what Designated Driver of Colorado Springs is working really hard to prevent.
And this is not such an isolated case. Actually, with both parents in separate accidents, it's a bit of an isolated case. But we hear these stories on the news all the time, all the time. And the other family that was devastated in this was that 26-year-old young woman's family. Her life as she knew it is over.
It is.
And it doesn't mean that she was a bad person. She made a really bad choice.
That's changed her family forever too. You know, she just, the ripple effect. I don't think people always understand the effect that one poor choice can have on their lives and so many others. You know, Lily had this huge group of friends. And I've met some of them. In fact, you know, she was killed on her mother's birthday. I was at the cemetery with her mother and her daughter on her mother's birthday, because that's where Lily's mother spends her birthday now, is at the cemetery with her daughter. You know, it just, people don't realize that the ripple effect, it just touched so many lives, you know, and they're changed forever. One choice in that split second that just, and there's no going back. There's no undoing it.
No.
You know, I'm sure the woman that is now sitting in prison would give anything to have made a different choice that night.
I'm sure she would.
But she
And
can't.
she'll be paying for that if she has a heart, and I'm sure she does.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be paying for that long after she comes out of prison as well. She has to live with that.
For the rest of her
And
life.
so she has a life sentence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to happen to anybody.
Neither do I. And that's what this is all about. It is the most preventable tragedy there is. You know, there's so many options. Have a designated driver of your own, call a cab in this area, call us. There's just so many other options. You know, but alcohol impairs.
It does impair, which is why if you think about it ahead of time, I love your voucher idea, because if you think about it ahead of time, people, you need to give her a call. If you're in the Colorado Springs area, think about it. Spend the $100. You probably spend that on a night out on the town anyway. Spend the $100. Have the voucher with you. You know, not only do you not have to pay for a cab, you'll have your car at your house instead of trying to figure out where the heck you left it the night before too. You know, there's all of that. But now you have some things that you do require of callers. They cannot have kids with them.
No.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
no children.
nobody under 18.
No.
Not going to happen.
No.
They have to have proof of insurance
And registration.
and
Correct.
registration.
Mhm.
Okay, so those are some of the things that, you know, people need to be prepared and ready for.
Mm-hmm. And they absolutely have to have a vehicle. We do get calls from folks who don't realize that. They do need to
Okay.
have a vehicle because my volunteers work in teams of 2. One person drives them home in their vehicle. The other volunteer follows in their own vehicle so that they can pick the driver up once we've gotten somebody home safely and move on to the next ride. Now, we're not licensed like the cab companies, so we can't
Okay.
provide rides in our own vehicles. So that's something that's really important. People have to have their vehicle with them.
Okay. That's easy enough. And again, if you're thinking ahead enough and you've got your vouchers, you've already talked to designated driver of Colorado Springs, so you know what you're going to need to have with you.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to plan for time. You need time for you guys to get there. What is recommended?
Well, we take calls Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
But how long? So
Well,
half an hour?
it depends on what
Before.
time they call.
Okay.
When I'm explaining things to folks, I try to tell them, please don't wait till last call at the bars. We'll still get you taken care of, but it might take a tad bit longer.
Right.
The average wait time is 15 to 20 minutes. This is a
Really?
pretty big city, so that's not real unreasonable.
That's amazing.
It is. And my goal is always to put as many teams out as I possibly can. There's no such thing as too many teams. When people are drinking, sometimes they get a little impatient. They don't want to wait. They lose their concept of time. So all of my volunteers know that I'm always going to put as many people out 3 nights a week as I can. Because the more people I've got out, the quicker we get people taken care of. So the average wait time is 15 to 20 minutes. If you've waited closer to last call at the bars, and say you're calling right at 1:45, it might take a little bit longer because people kind of tend to wait till, the latter part of the evening. So it may take 25 minutes, maybe even a half an hour.
That's
We do
so
our
worth
best,
it,
but
though.
it is, and I try to encourage folks. We take calls from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. If you've made that call by 3 a.m., there will be a team there. If I've got 20 rides waiting at 3 a.m., everybody knows we keep rolling till everybody who's called in is taken care of. So I've got drivers that can be out till 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. But we keep rolling till everybody who made that call is taken care of.
Remarkable. Now you have a T-shirt with you. You want to talk to me about that?
I would love to. Again, this is a promise that I've made.
Okay.
Okay? To mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives. These 2 soldiers,
Why don't you point it that way
Okay.
and we'll be able to
Sure.
get it.
Cale Clay and Pal Seraphin,
Okay.
were killed on February 13th of 2010. The driver of the vehicle survived that night. He's currently doing 10 years for 2 counts of manslaughter. He could have gotten 21. A couple of weeks before this young man's court-martial, Cale Clay's mom called me from Arizona. She'd been going through her son's wallet, found one of our cards in it. We spent about 2 hours on the phone. Since that time, Cale Clay's mom and I have become the best of friends.
Oh, that's lovely.
They live in Arizona. Cale was one of 8 kids. They live in Arizona. Occasionally, his mom will come up from Arizona.
Huh.
There's a memorial site set up out on 115. The state of Colorado put up a memorial sign. And when Cale's mom comes up here, she and I will go out to the memorial site. We've been out there a couple times now. I think the first time we just sat and talked. She told me stories about her son. The second time, she shared some letters that he had written. And like I said, these are the faces of what Designated Driver of Colorado Springs is working really hard to prevent. You know, it's just, they set out that night, a couple soldiers, Cale and his friend had just come back from Iraq a couple months prior.
So they survived Iraq.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that's what I talk about in my briefings when I'm talking to soldiers. Hey, you guys go to Afghanistan, Iraq, you survive over there. You come home here. And you end up on the front of a t-shirt or a poster or putting somebody else on the front of one. I work very, very hard to get this message out to the community. I work particularly hard to get the message out to our military community. This is a huge military town.
Yes, it is.
And I have such a passion for taking care of them. You know, these guys go over there, they see and do whatever they see and do, and they come home
and gals.
And gals, I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying that. You're right. You know, they come home here, they want to unwind, have a little bit of fun, and they've earned the right to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so when I'm talking to them, I just say, look, go out, unwind, have fun. You've earned it. But at the end of the night, please give us a call. Let us get you home safely. You're out there keeping us safe. We want to do the same for you.
And what a tragedy it would be if they have been over there and served and protected us, as you say, and then they drink and drive and kill someone here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they may survive the wreck.
The driver of this vehicle did.
So
He did. You know, Pal Seraphin, the other picture on this t-shirt, his mother and his brother came to the court-martial. His dad couldn't make it. When his dad got that call telling him that his son had been killed right here at home where he should have been safe, he had a massive coronary and couldn't travel. So again, the ripple effect, you know.
It is huge. It is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a nonprofit, I noticed on your site that you have a lot of needs. There's one part that says, well, what if my business can't sponsor? What are your other needs that you have?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of those, because people do care. They
Right.
our viewers are the best people ever. They're socially minded, they're community minded.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to know what you need.
Right.
So help them out.
Right.
Noni, tell them what you need.
I have all kinds of needs. That'll
Okay.
be easy.
Okay.
Our biggest need, when I'm asked that, is always volunteers.
Okay.
I am always looking for extra drivers. I've had over 850. 95% of that 850 is active duty military. So I have a really high turnover. I have a lot of people coming and going all the time. I also have civilian drivers. I'm always looking for civilian drivers. I also have need for volunteers in our call center.
Okay.
I have 2 kinds of volunteers in there. I have the folks taking the incoming calls from people requesting service, and then I have the folks who are calling up the teams and giving them the information they need. You know, office supplies, toner cartridges, paper, pens, basic office supplies is always a need. T-shirts, hoodies for the drivers to wear. We have a place we work with here in town that helps us with that. But, I'm always looking for that kind of help too.
Okay, so something with the logo on it that would identify them as one of your drivers. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Now, a lot of my drivers are wearing T-shirts. A lot of them are wearing hoodies. Excuse me. I feel kind of bad because as a nonprofit, in order to get my drivers into hoodies and T-shirts, they have to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we get a really good price for them from this person I have here in town, but I still have to charge them for them.
Right, and they're volunteering.
And they're
their time.
volunteers. And
Okay.
I really hate to do that. I would love to have a little fund set aside
Mm-hmm.
just to pay for T-shirts and hoodies because they're volunteering. They're paying for their own fuel. And I've got to ask them, well, I'd really like to have y'all in a hoodie or a T-shirt so that you're recognizable out there,
Sure.
but I've got to ask you to pay for them. And I just hate that. I really wish that
Understand.
I just had at least a T-shirt for everybody that they didn't have to pay for.
I'm pretty sure the people of El Paso County can step up so that you don't have to do that anymore. You guys can do that, can't you? I know you can. There's also a yearly fundraising event that you were telling me about that happens in December. December 10th?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I drew a blank there for a
I
minute.
thought I screwed up.
No, you
Sorry,
didn't
okay.
screw up. I did.
Okay.
I'm really glad you. That's funny. That you brought that up. As of this year, this will be our first year participating in Colorado Gives Day.
Okay.
ColoradoGives.org is a year-round fundraising platform for nonprofits, so folks can make donations to our organization any day of the year.
Okay.
But one day a year, this year it'll be December 10th, for a 24-hour period. It's called Colorado Gives Day. And it's the opportunity from folks all over the state to give to the charities of their choice
Okay.
through this website. Last year, I believe it was December 3rd, and I believe the figure was $15.7 million that the very generous folks of the state of Colorado donated to nonprofits all over this state. And I just think that's absolutely amazing.
It is
What
amazing.
obvious generosity.
It does not surprise me.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me because people do care.
Mm-hmm.
But they often don't know about specific needs, which is why I was asking you, what do you need? Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Because people do care and they do want to give you a hand with that. What is there training for volunteer drivers? What is that? What is that like? If someone wants to be a driver for you, what do they need to do?
Well, the first thing I need is copies of driver's license, registration, insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I also need to run a DMV check on them,
Sure.
a background check. So I have a little packet of paperwork that everybody fills out,
Okay.
copies of all the information that I need. And then before I can send them out on the road, I sit down and go over a rather extensive list of do's and don'ts and procedures and different information they need before I can send them out on the road. We also need our drivers to be able to drive a stick shift. You're climbing into other people's vehicles, so you have to
Sure.
be able to drive just about anything.
Right.
But I also have folks who tell me, well, I really want to help, but I don't know how to drive a stick shift. So I usually tell them, well, try to find a buddy. Somebody wants to partner up with you that does know how to drive one. In some cases where that's not possible, I do my best to try to pair people up. I say, well, if you can't drive a stick shift, you're going to have to be the chase car. But I can find a driver for you. It all works out.
Being a chase car sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No. In fact, I've got drivers that prefer to be the chasers. I've got drivers that prefer to do the driving. The drivers are all told they can deny a ride anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
Out of over 15,000 rides, we've denied maybe 35 or 40 rides. Doesn't
Wow.
happen very often. Sometimes at the driver meetings, I'm hearing stories about a ride from last night or last weekend, and every once in a while I'll think, ooh, I might have had to deny that one. you know what? Truth is, I've never denied a ride. And most of the drivers won't either. You know, a lot of people think that because we're dealing with intoxicated folks, we must have issues. We really don't. The people who call us, no matter how intoxicated they really are trying to do the right thing.
They're conscientious enough to call you. I respect that.
So do I. Absolutely.
And well, this is everyone's worst nightmare. This is what should never, ever, ever happen. There are tens of thousands more accidents that take place where no one dies. But lives are altered forever. I wanted to do today's show with Noni because at the age of 13 and then again at the age of 16, I was hit by drunk drivers. The first one, obviously, I was not driving. I was 13, but I was in the back seat of a small car, and I was injured. My mother was terribly injured. She's had over 7 surgeries. The second car accident, I was driving. My sister and I were in the car with her. It was the first day out post-surgery for my mother. We wanted to take her to lunch. My sister has problems that she'll have for the rest of her life. My mother has problems that she'll have for the rest of her life. And I've had my entire low back fused and I can't work. It's not worth it. And you don't want to be that person that does that. You know, I know you're too good for that. There's a great service, at least here, where no one has to live with knowing that they did that to somebody, because I believe without question the vast majority of people who wind up picking up a DUI or a DWAI are good people. They just made one bad choice. So we're going to put up all of your information so that people can get a hold of you. And I don't know how that you've done all that you've done, Noni, but I am beyond grateful that you do it.
You know, Martha, I love what I do. I tell everybody I'm the luckiest person I know because I get up every day and I get to go to work. And you know what? The service is available in the Colorado Springs area for now, but one day this service will be available across this country because I'm not going to slow down until I get us there.
Your lips to God's ears. I'm waiting for that. All right. Happen. Thank you again so much, and until next time, be safe.